So today we're just practicing writing equations of lines. So we haven't really done that a whole lot yet because it's always been given to us. So today they're giving you some information, and then we've got to figure out how to write an equation for that based on what they've given you. So before we even get started, what form do we always write equations of lines in? So there's two things that you have to write the equation of a line. What are they?
You need your M and your V.
What does the M stand for? Slope. And your y-intercept. Good. Are we all right with all that?
Yes.
Okay. So the first ones that we're going to do, you have to get the equation from the graph. So we're working backwards, kind of like from what we did day before yesterday. So instead of graphing it, you have to figure out what the equation was that gave you that graph. So, again, you have to find your slope and your y-intercept. I think it's easiest to find your y-intercept first, because that's just where you cross the y-axis, right? So if we're looking at the first one, where do we cross the y-axis? -1. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to say b equals -1. What else do we need? Your slope, right? And now remember we count that as rise over run, right? So yesterday when I was grading your quizzes, I didn't grade a lot of them, but a few of them, we were getting that a little bit confused. So is this line positive or negative? It's negative, right? So we know whatever our slope is, it's going to be negative. Is that okay? So then you got to find two good points. So your y-intercept is already a good point. Where's another good point? Down to over 1. I think this is another good point, right?
Well, if you got negative 1 and negative 2.
That reduces to the same thing, right? If we go down 2 over 1, how do you write that as your slope? Negative 2 over 1, right? And negative 2 over 1 is the same thing as what? Negative 2. Ooh, not the same as 1 over 2. So we have a slope, we have a y-intercept. Are we good with finding both of those things? So now you can write the equation of your line, yeah? So you're using slope-intercept form. You're always going to leave the y and the x in your final answer, right? So we'll have y equals, what do we put in place of m? What was our slope? -2. So you got to keep the x in there, and then you need the b, which was our y-intercept, and we said that was what? -1. So that's the equation of your line. Are we good with that?
Yes.
Do you have any questions? Do we need to do one more together?
Yes.
Pick one.
2, 5.
We'll do number 2.
Number 5. Yeah, number 5.
Number 5? Okay, we'll do 5. All right, look at number 5. So what two things do you have to find to write the equation of a line?
M and V.
We got to have our m. We got to have our b. Which one's easiest to find? I think the b, right? Because it's just where do you cross the y-axis? Where's your y-intercept? So going down the y-axis, where do we cross? Is that all right? Okay, so then we need our slope. So we've got one good point right here. Where's another one? Y'all, I almost think it's like all the way up here on the end.
-2.
If you're not sure, go further than what you think it might be. Does that make sense?
-3, -1.
So if we count that, okay, first off, is it going to be a positive or a negative slope?
How do you do that? How do you do that?
As you go from left to right, does the line go up or down? As you move from left to right, does the line go up or down?
It's going down. How do you know it goes down? It's going up.
But as you move from left to right.
It's over
So is it positive or negative?
Negative.
Negative. So then we just got to count how many up, how many over.
It's 7 over 7.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Look how smart I am.
Is that okay?
Yes, I did.
it.
No, thank you.
So when we go write our equation, it's going to be y equals. Are we okay with that? Because some of us are talking, so we're not paying attention. So I'm sure we're not going to know how to do this later.
Are we gonna do these on our own?
Yeah, unless we need to do another one, I'm good for you to do the rest on your own. Number 2. We'll do number 2, and I'll let you do the rest again. So number 2. What 2 things do you need to write the equation of a line?
M and B.
We need an M, and we need a B. Which one's easy to find?
B.
Your B is lift the y-axis across.
0.
Now for our slope, we got to find 2 good points. So we've got 1. Where might another one be?
Up and
Ooh, I think over here. So now is this going to be a positive slope or a negative? Positive, because exactly, as we move from left to right, the line goes up, so it's going to be a positive slope. How many blocks do we go up?
4,
And over,
5, 7.
so 4 over 5, up 4 over 5, that okay?
yep, that is great.
So when we go write our answer, we're going to have y equals what?
4 over 5. X.
4 5 X. That's it.
Do we need to write plus 0?
No.
You can.
Whoa.
Are you going to see it written that way on tests and quizzes and things?
No.
So this is technically like what you're filling in for everything, right? But this is what you'll see as an answer on a test or a quiz. Does that make sense? Yeah, I know, maybe. Questions? Alright, so you're doing 3, 4, and 6 on your own right now. I'm going to plot the good points so that we're all counting the same slope, because I think those are hard to find sometimes. So if you're not sure, double check with what I've got up here, okay? Here's a good point. maybe later.
I'll make a number 2.
All right. So are we ready to go over these?
Yeah, there's 3 problems and 3 people want to do it.
Booyah. Yeah.
But that's not how I'm doing it.
Yeah, she the one who like that, right? We never do it her way.
Instead of landing him, can you put down the 6 so I can see that I got the point right?
Whoa.
Do I just choose
Because I was like, hey, there's a good point, and then I realized I skipped one. But it doesn't matter. Whichever ones you use, it'll reduce to the same. All right, Zach, what is the slope, or sorry, the y-intercept for number 3? I'm sorry? -4? Brayden, what's the slope for number 3?
number 3, 2/3.
Oh, sorry, I meant the other Brayden.
Oh, my bad.
That's okay. 2/3?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yes. That's not what I thought.
Did you use these 2 points?
That's not right.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
7/2.
And is it positive or negative?
Positive. Because you went up. That's beautiful. I thought you hear that?
Savannah, when we write our answer, what's it going to be? Yes, ma'am, you got it. That okay, y'all? Do you have questions on that?
No.
Cool beans. All right. Trent, for number 4, what's the y-intercept? Should be able to just look at it and tell.
Two. 1.
1. There we go.
I was looking for a number. I would have a number.
Brayden Williams, number 4. What's the slope? So count your slope. I got you 2 good points, right? How far do you go down? One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Is it 6? Yeah, 6. And then over how many? And does the slope go up or down? So it's positive or negative? Negative. Are we all right with that, y'all? Yep. So when we go write our answer, MJ, how are we going to write our answer there?
Oh my God.
We're on number 4, MJ. -6x. I can't hear what you're saying. So after -6x, what did you say? +1. There you go. All right, are we good with that, y'all? Yes, no, maybe? Questions? Okay, so for number 6, Michaela, what's the y-intercept?
4.
Will, what's the slope?
-0.
2?
Whoa.
I got negative.
I got -0.
Wait, how'd you get 2?
Yeah. That's not.
I got 8/4.
Yeah, so did I.
8/4 reduces to 2.
See, you're just me and you are smart.
Buddy, how do we write the equation with that line? 2x plus 4. Good. Are we okay with that, y'all? Questions? So we're all good? I think those are the easiest ones, so I hope that we're good with those. On to the back. So for all of those, you are given the graph, and we had to write the equation. There's two things that you need to write the equation of a line. What are they? You need what? Y-intercept and what else? Slope. So you're writing the slope-intercept form. So again, that's y equals mx plus b. You need that m and you need that b. So this time they're giving us the slope. Hold on. Can we stop talking? They're giving you the slope, and they're also giving you some random point that it passes through. So how in the world is that random point going to be helpful? Plug in the x and y. Do y'all remember doing that a couple days ago? That parallel and perpendicular stuff? So they're giving you the slope. What variable is that? They're m. They're giving you a point. What variables are those? X and y. So we're plugging in everything that we know into y equals mx plus b. We got to find b, right? Because you need the m and the b to write the equation of the line. We only have one of those right now. So we're going to find the other. Does that make any sense? So do we know what y is? Yes. What can we put in place of y? Okay. Do we know what m is? It's 9. Do we know what x is? Do we know what b is?
You gotta solve for 9 times -1, and then you gotta subtract that answer from 4.
What is 9 times negative?
Negative 9 equals 4 plus b. Add 9.
Why do we add 9?
Because you got it.
Because it's negative. Good.
13 equals b.
Why didn't you subtract that? Get it to the
She didn't even make an equation like
Alright, so now we have our b.
9x
We already had our m.
plus 13.
So we can write the equation of our line. Yeah? You're always going to leave which two in there. Which variables are not going to change in your final answer.
B.
The x and y will always be in your answer. So you'll still have y equals. Instead of m, what are we going to put? It's x. And instead of b? Are we okay with that? Let's do at least one more together. Pick one, anyone.
Oh, wait, let me pick. 4.
Don't go past 12.
10.
10? We'll do 10.
9.
Alright, so for 10, again, we're writing the equation of a line. So what two things do you need?
M and B.
M and B. So they gave you slope. Which one's that?
M.
They also gave you a point. So what is that?
X and Y.
What are we going to plug all this stuff into?
The equation Y is equal to
It'd be -3 equal to 2 over 3.
So in place of slow your roll. Not everybody's that fast. I'm so glad that you got it, but we're not all there yet. Instead of y, what are we going to put? Instead of m, what are we going to put?
Oh, no, 2 over 3.
Instead of x, what are we going to put? And then with b? Plus b, because that's what we're trying to find, right? So what is 2/3 times -3?
You're going to do that on your calculator. Because some people have
-2. Then we add 2 because that's the -2 and we're trying to get the b by itself. So add 2 to each side. What's -3 plus 2? So -1 equals b. Are we done?
No, you gotta write the equation.
You got to write it. So which two variables do you always leave in your answer?
Y and X.
X and y. So we'll have y equals, instead of m, what are we putting? 2/3. Instead of x, what are we putting? X. Trick question. You guys got it. And instead of b, what are we putting? Are we okay with that? Do we need to do one more together?
Wait. I haven't even got that right now.
No.
After this one, we should do 11.
I don't think we should do one at all. I think we should
No.
start doing it.
I think we should just go to
Yes, I think we need to go and see what we can achieve. If we can't,
With partners.
no.
No.
We see what we can achieve by ourselves. And then
Well, then we need to do, no, 8, 11.
no,
We'll do one more together.
11.
see what we can achieve on our own.
Yeah.
11.
11.
Yeah, that's what he's teaching us.
I just want to make sure that everybody's got it. I know that you're like ready, and that's awesome. And I'm super proud of you.
I am too.
But not everybody's there yet.
Pluto, actually.
8.
So we'll do 11 together. I'm not gonna tell you.
I don't know why. I just made me think that.
Y'all shut up so she can do it.
So to write the equation of a line, what two things do you need?
M and B.
M and B, right? They gave us slope. Which one's that? But what variable is it? What?
M.
Okay. And then they gave you this point. So what variable is that?
X and Y.
We're gonna plug all this stuff into what equation? Evan, what do we put in place of y?
-1.
Sierra, what do we put in place of m?
Negative. I can't even see it.
It's on your paper too.
He has my paper.
Why does he have your paper?
I'm trying to get this last one.
You should have done that earlier. Get your paper back, Sierra.
I have to take breaks, you know.
Okay. Negative 5. Oh wait, no. Negative 2 over 5.
-2/5. Now you can give that back to me.
Thanks.
Ashton, what do we put in place of x? -5. Plus what?
B.
Plus b. That's what you're solving for, yeah? So -2/5 times -5. What do we get? What's a negative times a negative? +2. What do we do from there? -2. So -1 and -2 gives you what? How are we going to write our answer?
Y equal -2/5 x minus tree
There you go.
minus negative.
Are we all right with that?
Yes.
So you're ready to do the rest on your
We
own?
are prepared to go to battle.
Okay, go try 'em. So you're doing 8, 9, and 12?
Uh-huh.
8, 9, and 12.
Mm-hmm. 8, 9, and 12 on your own.
What do you have?
How do I make it?
Hey,
Hey, there you go.
can I get on the board now?
No. All right, Brianna, what do we put in place of y for number 8?
K.
Like this.
Macy, what goes in place of m?
Or.
Connor, what goes in place of x? What is -2 times -2, y'all?
4.
What do we do from there? So I went ahead and labeled everything. Are we good with finding the m, the x, the y? Yeah, that's the easy part, right? Okay. So then to write your equation, Dominic, how are we going to write our final answer?
Y equals -2x minus 2.
Minus what?
2.
What was our b?
Was
So instead of -2, minus. There you go. That okay? Yeah? All right, number 9. Maria, what do we put in place of y? Colin, what do we put in place of m? in place of m? 7 over 3. Hunter more, but goes in place of x. Roll number 9.
This on the ground.
Well, what goes in place of x?
It's literally in your book bag.
3. Can we stop having our own conversations? So what is 7/3 times 3, y'all? 7, so you've got 4 equals 7 plus b. Then what from there?
Minus 7.
What is 4 minus 7?
Negative 3. B equals B.
Crystal, how do we write our final answer? There you go. Are we all right with that, y'all? Yeah? Okay, so for number 12, last one, Anson, what goes in place of y? These are all flipped over. Hunter Marshall, what goes in place of m? Sam, what goes in place of 4 or in place of x? In place of x, what goes in place of x? 1. I'm tripping, and then we got plus b. I could not get the words out. What is 8 times 1, y'all? What do we do from there?
Negative 4.
So negative 4 equals b.
Yeah.
Josh, how do we write our final answer? Y equals what?
Y equals ax minus 4.
Josh, does that make sense? I think you got your x and your n mixed up. Do we have any questions on that section, y'all?
No.
Alright, so for the next one, I need you to really pay attention, because if you don't pay attention, you're going to do twice as much work as you need to. Okay? So for this part, you're still writing the equation of a line. So what form is that going to be in?
Y equals mx plus b.
Hold on, wait.
They're just giving you points this time. So what 2 things do you need to write the equation of a line?
You gotta find
Your m and your b.
We need an m and we need a b. So if you're given 2 points,
That's x and y.
That's your slope right there.
how do you find your slope?
You gotta do y minus y and x minus x.
Y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x.
That's your x right there. That's your slope right there.
So this is where you're going to do twice as much work as you need to if you do not pay attention. To get your b, the y-intercept, what do we normally do?
We do the that. Yeah.
All this stuff, plug in and solve for b, right? What is your y-intercept though?
That's your word across the y.
Where it crosses the y-axis. So what happens there? What's 0?
No way.
So if you're given a point where x equals 0, is that not your y-intercept?
Hold on, wait. Yeah.
So let's rewind for just a second. Look back at the bell ringer. We circled all these coordinates that were y-intercepts, right? So if this is a y-intercept, what's like the b? -2, right?
What if it's 0, 0?
What if it is 0, 0? What's your y-intercept? 0. That okay? That's why we did that on your bell ringer. You're welcome. Okay? So looking back at these, right now, we could go through and find the b for every one of them, right? So what do you think the b is for 13? 0. That okay? Are we getting that?
That's it? That's all we gotta do?
Well, that's your b. We'll go back and find the m later.
Doesn't matter like which place it like it says. It's like if it
If
has
the-
0, it's the B.
If the x is 0, that's your b.
And you were on that.
So looking at 14, do we have an x that is 0? And what's the y that goes with that? So your b is what? 0. Does that make any sense, y'all?
Any thingy, what are they called?
Ordered pair
You order pair. Anything that has a zero is
for x
y-intercept zero.
is your y-intercept. If there's a 0 for x, it's your y-intercept. So what about 15? Can we find our y-intercept there?
Yeah, it's -1.
It's -1, right? What about 16?
-5.
It's -5?
It's 1.
Why is it 1, not -5?
Because it has a zero in it.
That's the one that has the 0. What about 17?
It's 3.
Next one's 3 too.
Whoa, you got smart boy. Okay, now that's my fault.
Are we okay with that?
Let me tell you what.
So like I said, if you do not pay attention to what you're doing and you're just like busting through the word, you're going to miss something like that and do twice as much as you need to.
Well,
Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah. Is it for everyone? Like, if one of the top ones has a 0, would it still be the same?
It would be your y-intercept, yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
alright,
Anytime that-
anytime with the zero.
So listen, just to clarify, anytime you're given a point, an ordered pair, if the x is 0, that's your y-intercept, always, no matter what.
So no matter how it's worded, whatever. Okay.
It always equals the one with a 0.
It always equals 1 with 0 with it.
Just like this.
Does that make sense, y'all? If it'll focus. I said if you, hey, look. If you are given an ordered pair, x, y, and x equals 0, then whatever that y value is your b. Yeah? I would write that on your paper somewhere, because that's what we were just saying. I put it at the very, very bottom of mine. Wherever you got room is fine. Jot that down. That should be then, not B.
That's freaking awesome.
Right? I forget letters sometimes. Are we okay with that? We got that written down?
Yeah.
Wonderful. So let's go back to number 13.
I see more this way.
So just to refresh your memory, what's up?
What's the last word on that say on the bottom?
Then y equals b.
Thank you.
Yep.
Turns out for another week. Turns out for another week.
Silencio. 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 Hey. Silencio.
So just to refresh your memory, what 2 things do you need to write the equation of a line? Can we stop talking? Y'all are wasting so much time just because you won't shut up. You need an M and you need a B, right? We already have which one? We've already got the B, so you still need your M. How are you going to find
So
it?
we plug in the B and the Y and we do it like we did up there. Y minus Y.
What formula gives you your slope?
Oh no, you did Y minus Y. I said that earlier.
So we're going to do that. Just plug in your slope formula and find your slope, okay? So this is X and Y, X and Y. When we set that up, what goes on top?
-1 minus 0. 1 minus 0.
Either way, just as long as you keep the order the same.
When you mean either way, you
I don't care. Listen,
the 0. Okay.
I don't care if you do this one minus this one or the second one minus the first one. You'll get the same answer either way. You just have to keep the order the same on top and bottom. Does that make sense?
Then why was the test look like negative 24 over?
Because that's a different answer.
Yeah, they were like the same, but like negative.
No, they're not. If negative and positive are different numbers, different answers. What I'm saying is it doesn't matter if you do this minus this or this minus this. You will get the same answer either way. We'll work that out in a second so you believe me, okay? So on top we have -1 minus 0. So on bottom, what are we going to put?
1 minus 0.
1 minus 0. What's your question, Hunter?
Would it mess up if it's x minus x and y minus y?
Yes, that's wrong. It's got to be y minus y over x minus x. So we did the first one minus the second one. What is -1 minus 0? -1 over 1 minus 0 gives you -1 over 1 is -1. Is that okay? So let's pretend that we did it in the other order. So instead of first minus second, if we did second minus first, so if you had 0 minus -1 over 0 minus 1, what happens right here? So that becomes 1 over -1, which still gives you -1. Do you see how that's the same, Braden? I just worked that whole thing out for you and you ignored me.
Oh my goodness, Brady.
Jesus,
So order doesn't matter as long as it's the same on top and bottom. You've got your M and your B now, so we can write the equation of our line. So we'll have y equals, instead of M, what are we putting? -1. You still have an X, and your B is?
0.
But you don't gotta write it just because it's smart.
I'm showing you where to put all the things in here. Are they likely to write this or this?
No.
What are you probably going to see?
Y equals -1x.
They won't even put the 1 there, right? They'll just have the negative.
Whoa, what?
So you need to know that these two are the exact same thing.
They don't put the 1. Hey, we quit doing that.
You just sing the song.
And I'm doing my work.
Let's go to his grandma's.
Are we okay with that?
Yes.
Do you have any questions on what we've done?
No.
What are our questions?
I'm good.
All right, so pick like one more to do together, and I'll let you do the rest on your own. 15?
18. 18.
That's what I'm saying.
let's do 17.
Just pick one. You pick.
Yeah, you pick the one that we need the most help.
I was looking to see if there's one that's tricky, but there's not, so they should all be straightforward. All right, so we're doing 15.
Okay.
So to find your slope, what formula are you using? Y minus y over x minus x. You should have it written on your paper.
Yeah.
If you don't, I recommend you write that down. So what goes on top?
Y, -4 minus 1.
Minus -1. And on bottom?
-4 minus 0.
When you minus the negative, what are you really doing? So what is -4 plus 1? On the bottom, you got -4 minus 0. What's -3 over -4? Positive 3 over 4.
Wait, how is that? How is it?
Negative divided by negative gives you positive. Okay? I think that's where some of y'all were messing up on the quiz yesterday. If you had negative over negative and you left the whole thing as negative, right? But if you have a negative divided by a negative, that's positive. So how do we write our final answer?
Y equals 3/4 x plus 1.
Questions on that? Do we need to do another one together? Y'all good to go?
We can do the rest together.
Y'all take like 5 minutes.
Let's do it.
Do the rest of them on your own.
Are we gonna have homework tonight?
Yes, it's just
Good. Well,
Your name is not like
So we're gonna go through this quickly because I think most of us are good. So for 14, what did we get for the slope? Can we just say what we got, or do we need to work through it? 3/5. Are we okay with that? So how do we write the equation of our line? Are we okay with that?
Yes.
Questions? All right, for 16, what's the slope there? Do we all get -3?
Yes.
Do we have any questions on that? I'm trusting y'all because I haven't worked it out. And then how do we write our answer?
12. And that's supposed to be
3x plus 1.
negative 3x plus 1.
Questions on that one? For 17, what was our slope?
5/3. Hey, bro, listen here. 3 minus 2 or minus -2 is
Plus
5.
2.
And Whoa! I'll put the E on this.
Are we okay with 17? For 18, what was our slope there? Do we all agree with that? -1/4?
Actually, no, it made it positive because it was
Does it? That okay? Some of y'all are being extremely rude right now. Like, I get it, I understand, but like we're trying to go over it, and if you're not paying any attention at all, it defeats the entire purpose. So half y'all are sitting there probably with wrong answers, and you're just fine with it, oblivious to everything. So once you get your slope, your y-intercept, how do you write the equation of our line? Do you have questions on any of those? So we're all good, yeah?